We are go for liftoff in T minus 30.
Hit the record button.
Gosh, that's swell.
It's a Lowe's Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Italo's Black Tag Radio. This is Italo speaking, and we have Nikki coming from somewhere up north.
Saskatoon.
So here she is. Welcome to the show, Nikki Hartman. Is that correct?
Yes. Hello. Thanks for having me. I've been so excited to do this. Very excited.
Yeah, I am too.
I haven't had a chance to really tell my story. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry. I'm like,
no, I've never been interviewed before like this, so I'm not sure how it works, but I'll probably just babble. You'll have to tell me to stop.
I'm not doing that. I like when people ramble. Actually, I'm a rambler, so ramble on. It's cool. But yeah, for those that are new to the show, this is Italo's Black Tag Radio, the last show of the year, perhaps, because we're getting very close to the end of 2020. Yay! I'm done with 2020, and I think everybody's done with 2020. But going forward, I like to tell people that Italo's Black Tag Radio will be on hiatus for a minute because I have to regroup, rethink what happened. And I'm sorry, I'm also rambling on right now.
Oh no, that's fine. You have the floor.
I feel like I can ramble on my show, so let's
Absolutely.
just do that. Because sometimes I stop myself from rambling on, but I think it's needed so that people that are listening understand why the show has to be on hiatus. And I think I have to work on myself, first of all, because there has been a lot of things happening during the holidays this year that I am not ready to share just yet. I need to, figure it out, what's happened. And without further ado, Nikki, this is your time, your floor. I am not going to talk for the next few minutes, just to hear your story from beginning to end.
Okay, thank you. How did this all start? Wow. First off, I'm in recovery from alcoholism and marijuana abuse. And I had never really realized how much it was in my life until I got into recovery. Like we're talking from when I was 14 years old, it started, and drank, and it was binge drinking, and that's what I thought we did. I thought that everyone who drank to get drunk and blacked out. I thought that was normal. So I did that for years and years. And I met my first husband, and he's a great man, very caring man, and he loved his kids. But when he drank, it was like Jekyll and Hyde, the complete opposite. It was very abusive in every way. Mentally, I stayed with him for 12 years and had 2 kids with him. And it was really hard to come to terms with that your husband can rape you. That's a hard one to really wrap around your brain. Mentally, he was very possessive, very controlling. And then it got past just alcohol abuse, and he got into harder drugs. And till this day, we got together when we were 18 years old, and I'm 47. And to this day, he's still an addict and on the streets, on off the streets, in and out of jail. He's just gone downhill. So I remember I got this book, and I believe it was from my grandma, by Doreen Virtue. And it was working with the angels, and I got really soaked up into it. And I actually started reading it when I was in court with my ex. He was getting charged probably with a 08 or something, 0.08, and like a DUI. And it just got me, thinking that there's another life. I might be able to get out of this, because I didn't think I could get out with 2 little kids. I had no credit history. There were resources then, but not like there are now. There were still a lot of resources for women to go to, but it's just that whole mental gymnastics of everything, of having to start your whole life over with 2 little kids. How am I going to raise these kids? I have no money. But I did have a job, and actually I'm still with the job I was at back then. But I finally got the courage to leave with my 2 kids, and they were, oh gosh, Michael was, I want to say 4, and Lexi was about 8, somewhere in that age, still quite young. And I packed him up and left, and it was hard, very hard. But when I got my first place, I'd never felt so free. I was so terrified, but I was so excited, because I'd never been on my own and had my own place to myself ever. And I got into this whole spiritual path, and I became a holistic practitioner, and I loved it. And the power, I shouldn't say power, but because it's all working, it's not me giving out the energy. It is, but it's not all coming from me. I'm working with the angels, and they're giving it to me, and I'm passing it along. And I don't know, without that, I would never be able to have left. I really don't think I could have. I finally got to a point where I knew that his problem was his problem, and I had to stop feeling sorry for him and wanting to help, and it wasn't working. I've tried it, and actually when I left him, his mom got really sick and had heart surgery, and then she didn't do very well after the surgery, and I had put charges and a restraining order against my ex-husband, because my daughter had phoned me at work one day and said, "Mom, Dad came to the school and I had to give him the house key." So I was terrified. I thought he was cleaning out my place for money for drugs. And I called the police, and when I got there, I hated seeing him in the back of that cop car. It was horrible, but I had to do it. I couldn't let this happen. This was my place. This is mine. And his mom ended up passing away. But when she was in the hospital sick, he had to see his mom passing away, and in shackles and with guards. And I dropped the charges because I didn't want his mom or his family to see him at the funeral. I didn't want him to go that way, I still had compassion after all this, what this man had done to me. I still had compassion for this guy. I still do. I still care for him. And I've forgiven him now for everything that he's done. But that's a hard hill to climb, that's for sure. But and then after all of that, a year later, I met my current husband, who is a complete opposite. He's a paramedic. He's on the SWAT team, a medic on the SWAT team. He's like a top-notch. He's like the perfect guy. I swear to God. Even we've been together 15 years, and I'm still waiting for the ball to drop. Like, what's going to happen here? It never does. He's just, ace. And I think I lost my spiritual path. I think I don't know if my ego got in there. I don't know what it was, but he just, or I guess it's hard to explain. I'm not even sure what happened. I don't know if I just got sucked into the new romance and just carried on with that, and, took my kids to their volleyball and baseball and, did what moms do. And I lost it. And my drinkings and my pot usage just kind of stopped around there, not completely. I still drank on the weekends. I would get together with my girlfriends, but still I would drink to excess and smoke marijuana to excess. And blackouts that's a given. That was a given for me. I'd wake up and I'd have bruises, or I wouldn't know how I got home. The first hour, I was awesome, fun. It was great. And then everything after that's a shit show. No, you never knew what I was going to do. It normally wasn't anything terrible, but not knowing, and, and then you regret some of the things you say, and, and it was just happening too much. And then my son passed away. He passed away from an accidental overdose. And my husband was actually working that night, and he got the call, and he had to go to the scene and pronounce him dead. So it was horrible for both of us, devastating, absolutely devastating. And my son and I were very close. My kids and I are very close. My son was the kid that it didn't matter what grade he was in. He could have been in kindergarten, grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to high school, even up until after high school, in front of his friends. Like, I would go to his class because he'd forgot his lunch, or I don't know, forget something. I'd go to his class and I'd bring it to him, and he'd come up, "I love you, Mom," and give me a big hug. Like, he was not ashamed of me at all. He was the best kid. He was awesome. Love him to death. Still do. I hate using past tense when someone's passed away. I still have an issue with that, because my love hasn't stopped. I still love him. And so when he passed away, everything really went downhill for me. I was drinking bad, and it just got worse and worse and worse, to the point where my husband was coming home from work, and I am so drunk, I'm falling down and hitting my head on the counter. I can't even walk up the stairs. I'd fall back, and I broke a shoe stand that was at the bottom of the stairs against the wall. Just not dealing with life, obviously, at all. And it took 2 years of that, and almost losing my husband through many mistakes and the shitty brain that an alcoholic has, just so selfish, very, very selfish. Even after my son passed away, my mom has a place in Mexico, so I went there for 6 weeks. My son passed away in November, and so in January, I went to Mexico for 6 weeks, not even considering that my husband needed me or my daughter needed me. It was just me. I need to heal. I need to get away. And really, I did have a little bit of healing, but it pretty much drank 24/7. It was just, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and I thought I'd come back refreshed, and it didn't. But so did all that, came home, and still me. I was a music photographer, so I got to tour with some bands, and some of them, some well-known bands I got to photograph, and I loved working with artists, and I was trying to build my business, and so it was me. I got to go on tour, and so I'm leaving my husband to go on tour with 3 guys, a band, all over Eastern Canada. Who does that? And to this day, my husband regrets letting me go. He said, "I hated you going." He said, "But I knew it would be a fight, and that you felt like you needed it." And that was my escapism. I was escaping. I was always escaping. Now, it was a good time. had a blast, but looking at it now, what a horrible decision to make. Horrible. How selfish of me. How could I do that to my husband? But also with my psychologist, talking with her for the last few years, I finally came to a point where I realized everything was a mess. My thinking, everything was a fog. I couldn't see for what things really were. And I had to get sober and clean to deal with my son's passing and to get my shit together, get my life back on track. And that's what led me back into my spiritual path again. And so now I'm really working hard, and I wish it was like, I'm like, okay, I want this to happen now. I want my third eye to open right now. But it doesn't work like that. It all unfolds. You got to have patience and take time. But so kind of in a nutshell, there's still a ton of shit that happened in that, in that time span. I tell you, I've had a life, but that's where I'm at now. I'm in 67 days today, clean and sober, and love it, and going strong. My husband's my biggest supporter.
Now, I'm sorry, I have a question. You said your current husband or your current ex-husband?
My current husband, in which story?
The firefighter,
that's my current husband. He's a paramedic and a SWAT medic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify that because I'm like,
oh yeah, I know. I could have been rapping.
Like, is he still in the picture?
Yeah. No, okay. And he's not a drinker. He's not I don't know. It was meant to be, I guess. He was supposed to come into my life and get me out of this. That's for sure.
Well, I have a lot of notes. Yeah, because so for those that are listening, the reason I wasn't talking because I haven't met you. I'm just meeting you right now for the first time, right?
Yeah. We
have been talking online, or we have been exchanging information online, but you know how that is. It's not a real connection. Even this is not a real connection. It's still virtual.
Right.
But the reason I'm doing that is because now I'm understanding what I was doing before, which is, it's all about me, and not about the person that's talking. So that's what I had to work on today.
Me too, still. I think we all do. You kind of it's hard. Your ego gets in there. It just, and I still have a hard time deciphering when is my ego coming into play and when am I coming into play? Like my true self.
Mm-hmm.
I have so much to work on. I think even Jesus had stuff to work on. We're not perfect. Shit happens. And unfortunately, during my recovery, the world didn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Things still went on. We had still bills to pay. Still had a daughter and 2 grandkids that need us and want us. And, I tell you, I looked at my sleeping pills and I wanted to take the pain is so intense. I just, it's so hard to bear, the shame.
Mm-hmm.
And
the shame.
Yeah.
Yes, the shame.
And there's a few times I just want to take that bottle and just done and go be with my son. I'd cry and cry and cry. It's hard, but if it wasn't for my daughter, who is an amazing, beautiful woman, she's just graduated and got her social work degree, and her eyes just light up. She's a child protection worker now. I tell you, if she was a child protection worker and had to see what she had witnessed, like if she could see what her and her brother lived through, she would have taken, the kids away. Like, it's just, So I carry that guilt and shame as well. You know, what more could have I done? You know?
Mm. Now, okay, so let's talk about shame.
Yeah.
Because you're saying that you carry. I'm sorry. Say that again. How do you say it?
Like carrying like the shame I have from like what more
And I'm sorry, we're
kids.
cutting off. We have a little bit of technical difficulties for a reason. The
Yeah,
reason
maybe
I'm
a little
asking you
bit.
to say it again is because no, it's fine now. I think and I'm talking about me myself as well. I carry someone else's guilt, meaning my parents or my family or my boyfriends or my whatever, uh, and they put the shame on me. Where in real life, they should be ashamed of themselves, because
Yeah.
that's not my shame; is their shame. But I'm wondering if the shame you were feeling was your shame, or was it somebody else is telling you you should be ashamed of what you're doing?
That could be. There's so many.
Sorry, we don't have a good connection anymore. Say that again. I'm sorry.
It was
We
going
got
so good. Yeah. I think as a mom, we all carry some sort of shame or guilt. Like we're not perfect. Kids don't come with a book, you know? And so you think back and you wonder, oh, could I have done this better? Could I have done that better? But then I look back at what my kids had to go through seeing, like I would come home from work from a 12-hour shift and my ex-husband would be passed out. And there's my 2-year-old and 5-year-old running around freely. And I'm wondering what the heck has been happening all day? You know, it took so long. Like, so I feel horrible that it took so long for me to leave. Thankfully, I did, because many women don't. Some still stay and feel stuck. But I think, I think the shame was mine.
Okay.
I think.
I mean, if that's the case, it's great. It's good news. If it's not yours, then
Yeah.
anyways, there's a long story behind that, but I am not going to discuss it today because you know why? I don't understand it fully, and so I don't want to talk on it until I have somebody
Totally.
that's going to come and explain it to me as
Yeah.
well, from a psychologist point of view or from a therapist point of view, because I have an idea of it now, but I've only discovered it last week or this week.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
cannot talk on it, but I can give you a little bit of a scenario or of an idea. But I don't
Absolutely.
want to do it until I'm ready to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. You know, I'm always learning. And we all are. This is everyone's on their own journey, whether they're really doing anything or productive or not. You're still on a journey. You're still, and boy, as you get older, you do get wiser.
Right. Yeah.
That's definitely for sure. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I just think of some of the things I've done, and I always thought I was a good person, decent, and I was always caring of other people. But gosh, when now in recovery, I'm like, I was, but wow, I was still very
Mhm.
self-centered, all about me. I was thinking about, like now, before a couple of years ago, well, before I got sober, I would be driving and I'd be driving down the street and I'd be looking at the time. I'd be like, oh, okay, so-and-so's not coming over till such and such a time. I can have a quick drink and a quick puff before they come. And, and my mind was just going and going and going. And now I'm sitting around in my truck driving with music going and I'm waving at people and I'm smiling and I'm enjoying a leaf that falls down to the floor, to the ground, or, I'm just noticing, I guess, the things that matter now really in life. All that other shit doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's just, it's an eye.
it is an eye-opening. You're freezing again. But let me just say that if you're still, I don't know if you still can hear me, but I've
I can.
experienced the same thing recently too, where I'm noticing things, and I'm noticing things that were there before, like the birds and rain this morning. It's raining here in LA, guys. Like that doesn't happen very often. Um, but it all has to do with not me, but me interacting with those elements. Um, and I understand it's not for me, but I'm still there watching, and I'm like I'm in awe right now. I'm seeing things I haven't seen before, but
It
they were
is for
there
you.
before, and they were there before. I just didn't see them, so it's like,
Yeah.
all right. But I have a long way to go too, just so you know. And one thing that stood out from what you just said something earlier about not being a good person. I will say to you that I thought I was not a good person either, but it's that the shame comes in two different ways. One is toxic and one is not toxic. So if you're saying this is what I know, I can share this with you right now. If you say that I am a bad person,
Absolutely.
if I'm a bad person, that's toxic. That's a toxic guilt or toxic shame. But if you say to yourself, I am a good person, but I did bad things, that is that's actually guilt, not shame.
Right. Yeah.
So finding that, and then that's ourselves, me included. We have self-talk like that. We're like, I'm a bad person, aren't I? Or what if you change that thought to, I'm a good person. I've always been a good person. I have good intentions, but I just happen to have the wrong, the drink or the addiction or the abusive relationship, and
Yeah.
it's kind of not your fault.
Just made bad choices
Yeah.
myself. Realizing that I'm a good person. I just made bad.
Sorry, you're cutting off again. Sorry about that.
Because I knew, oh, shoot.
No,
No,
it's
I think
fine.
it's
You're
my
back.
connection. I think I've been having.
You're back. You're back.
I would always tell my kids before they left the house, make good choices. It's a choice to be an idiot. Because I knew they were going out to drink or party. And so, and the husband
Again.
in a dream and said that to him. Oh,
I'm sorry.
shoot.
What did he say? You got cut off again. What did he say to him? I'm sorry.
I would say to my kids, make good choices. It's a choice to be an idiot. Because I knew they were going out to go drinking or partying with their friends when they were going out to leave, when they would go to leave the house. So, actually my husband had a dream where my son came to him and said that to him and was pointing at me, but looking at him. So it was like, there's so many things that I've had flashes of my son and of him just grabbing my hand and we're walking down a path. And so I know he's with me now. I feel him. So we just have a different relationship now. It's not the one I prefer, but he's with me all the time and guiding me through this whole journey, this whole thing I'm going through, my whole spiritual path, and I'm loving it. I'm so happy to be back spiritually and forgiving myself, loving myself again, and being truly happy. I had to relearn how to be truly happy because I was always high or drunk. I had to relearn a whole bunch of feelings and distinguish, because sometimes I'd get this feeling and I'd be like, what is that? It feels good, or this feels bad, and I couldn't really distinguish it. So, and I'm still learning that, but it's part of the process. I'm willing to go through it sober. I am willing to, this is so much, it's not easier, but it's so much better than how I was dealing with life before.
Right.
So much better.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah. And I have to also, I have to reprogram my mind and my, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we are our worst enemy and our worst critics, and we're like, stop saying that. You're, you know, stop it.
Yes.
And I
Constantly.
don't stop it. Sometimes I let it go. It's like it keeps going and going and going, and I'm like, you know, that's what I was doing for 48 years, or
Yeah.
not that many, but
Your
you know,
mind
and
is very powerful, and it's amazing what it makes you believe. You
yeah,
pick up things from other people, like shame, and it it sticks, and why it sticks with you and you believe it, I don't know. And it's so hard to reprogram your brain to, well, you're reteaching yourself, you're relearning everything again. You know, it's hard. It's really hard to truly face your demons and conquer them. Like I say, holy hell, yes, I'm a warrior.
right. What is your word of the day, by the way?
Oh, word of the day. You know what? I feel like support is my word of the day. Supporting others. Um, Sometimes I feel like I don't get, I'm kind of going through this right now with some of my really, really close girlfriends who still drink but don't have a problem with it. And I feel like, well, why aren't you asking me about my alcoholism and how this is and how that is? And then I have to stop and, okay, I'm doing the me thing again, you know? They have my support. I have to remind myself they do support me and they love me. It's just, they're just doing what they normally do, you know? And it's me, I'm the one who changed. I'm the one changing. So I feel like people should come up to me and be asking, wow, you know, how are you doing today? What day are you on today for your sobriety? But that's the ego and the me playing, right? So I have to chill out, and sometimes I have to just stop talking to them for a couple days to, to process that. I had to write out a whole page of stuff to go back and read. Okay, they love me. They do support me. They have a life too, you know? They are living their life, and, you know, not
Yeah.
everyone has to acknowledge my sobriety, you know? It's so I need to chill on that part. But I'm
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah, it's a learning process. Okay, so it's gonna cut off in a few minutes, but what I want
Okay.
to do, I do want to give you a few minutes to, because you were doing something to me, and I don't know what it is, but
Oh,
I don't know if you're gonna do it or not because of the time restraint that we have.
want to do a little
I
healing?
I, I would like to, if you want to do it today or you want to do it another time, it's up to you.
Sure. I'm going to burn my sage. This,
Okay. Well, before you do that, let me end this and then we'll come back to part two because I don't know
sure.
what's going to happen. I'm ready for it, but
I will
uh,
still do a healing session for you.
all right. All right.
How was that? Try to just ground yourself a little bit. I've never really done this on video before. So I'm used to working with people with touch point therapy and actually working with their chakras. So I'm learning how to visualize it and do it a different way. So hopefully you got what I was sending you, because I'm like sweating. I could feel it. Someone got something.
Okay, I'll tell you my experience.
Sure, I'd love that.
Okay, I'm a control freak. I'll tell you right now. I was fighting myself
Yeah.
because I was like, I'm not in control right now. Right? I'm that's what I'm telling myself. It's like, you're not in control. Stop controlling it. It's your podcast, whatever, but you're not in control. She's in control. So for me to let go of the control, that was the whole thing. I'm like,
That's
really?
hard. Yeah. That's really hard for people to do. Well, we're so used to, well, being in control of ourselves. Your choice is just everything you do. So just to completely be vulnerable and let go is kind of scary.
It is. Because I was actually picturing myself, looking at myself, editing the video. I'm like all over the place. I'm like, dude,
That's
stop
okay.
doing what you're doing. And
That's okay. You still got it. You still received it. You still got it.
I got it. I got it. At the end, I'm like, when you were breathing, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to breathe.
You knew it never feels comfortable.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on, so I just let it happen. I'm like, okay, but the control freak was in control.
Yeah.
And
See, and this
that
is
was,
a learning lesson for me, because maybe I should be telling people, picture yourself in your favorite spot by the water, by the ocean, and just picture yourself there,
okay.
and it gives them a bit of a visualization, to work
Okay.
on instead of kind of a blank.
Well, for the first time, this is great. To realize at the end, what did you learn from that silence? There was
Yeah.
no silence. There was no silence up here.
Yeah. Get the quiet.
There was a lot of voices going like, "Are you feeling anything?" No. I'm like,
I know. Did you open your eyes? Oh no, she's still going.
yeah. So I think that was the whole point today for me, to just be comfortable with the silence and
Yeah.
don't control, don't let go of the control. That was the point.
Well, let's see, and that's a good thing.
It is a good thing because, yeah.
Well, it felt good. Well, you definitely received. You got something. So did anyone else who was watching. You can come back to this, and you'll still get that energy.
Okay. So for those that are listening, how did they get a hold of you?
Well, the only way really is through either my email, nchartman@me.com, or TikTok. That's the only social media I have. I deleted everything else 9 months ago for my recovery. So I'm on TikTok, and I'm Nikki, Niki _shines _SOBERIGHTLY. It's kind of a play on words with so brightly and sober brightly.
Okay.
Nikki,
Now it makes sense because it didn't make sense when I saw it the first time. I was like, what happened to the photography?
I know. I did that. Yeah, I turned over a whole new leaf. I've changed my whole life. No more photography, no more. So I have a whole studio of stuff, and now I have to sell or donate or something. Yeah, but that's okay. It felt right. So
You gotta speak to your angels about that. I don't know what they're gonna tell you.
I know.
Tell me a little bit more about. And now, by the way, if you're listening on YouTube or whatever, Spotify, I'm gonna put her information below. So if you didn't get that when she was saying it, that's okay. You can just go below and click on the links. I'm gonna put all your information there below. And we still have time, so this is good because I wanted to ask you about Doreen Virtue a little bit.
Mhm.
What can you tell us about Doreen?
Oh, and I haven't even actually read any of her books since like 15 years ago. And this is the one I was reading. I have it right here, The Light Worker's Way. This is the one I read 15 years ago in the courtroom. There's feathers on here, there's bookmarks and highlights. There's, and it's probably good you mentioned this because I probably need to read this again. It is an amazing book. It literally changed the way I thought. It inspired me so much that I got the nerve to leave my husband. I'm not even sure, I don't have my glasses on it when it was published, but this has to be one of her. She has many, many, many books. She is an amazing. I love her. And there's everything in here about, numbers, repetitive numbers that you see, what your angels are, they're sending you messages. Mm-hmm. And you gotta quiet your mind and be one with yourself. One of my favorite quotes, and I'm not sure who said this, is the total of minds in the universe is one. Because we all come together. It's just all energy. Everything is energy. And when you close your minds and you meditate and you realize it's just, you're all one.
Mm.
Okay. It's not a whole bunch of different people. It's your minds and your energy and expanding. And it's amazing if you really sit and think about it.
It's like connected to the source.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And
when you said that, I realized exactly. I'm like, you're connected to the one source because we all can connect to the one source.
Yeah.
But there's only one source.
Yeah. There's only one source. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The feeling when I'm doing my energy work, I get this, I don't know what to call it. It's just it's like all this buildup of all this energy in my chest. And I have to and I expel it. And so I picture you and I picture just many people and I just shoot it out into the universe. And I've learned so much about pain through this. Use that pain, and it's okay to cry and be sad and have sorrow and grief, shame. It's okay. We're human. Just don't stay and wallow in that. You gotta release it and release it back into the universe. And it just, I wish I had the words.
Maybe you should write your own book.
Yeah, gosh, I wish I could. I don't think I could write a book. I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I'd have to have someone with a better vocabulary than me. I'm terrible with words. I have a really hard time explaining myself. I have it all up here, and I think, oh yeah, this is great and wonderful, and I try and say it to someone, and it sounds like a child said it. It's just.
No, I think you're being too hard on yourself.
Well, I know, and I am sometimes a lot, quite a bit, yeah. And I need to work on that.
I think we all are, though. We all are.
Yeah.
Hard on ourselves.
We are. That's part of the negativity and the doubt, and you gotta let it go and go with what you feel. Go with what you feel, and if it feels good, keep going. And if it's starting to feel bad, shy away from it. Go back to what feels good and keep going on that.
Right.
That's what I'm learning. I certainly do not know everything at all. I am learning, and I'm having to relearn all this stuff that I knew. Like, I don't know, I could probably talk to you to death about angels and stuff, and now I just know it and feel it, but I forget all those little details, and so I'm having to relearn everything. But that's okay.
It is. It's okay.
Yeah.
I do want to thank you because you showed me how to let go of something. I
Okay.
knew I was a control freak. But yeah, today was like let go of that control.
Yeah. You should maybe try a guided meditation. There's lots of them out there. I do them too. Sometimes my mind is so just it's like it's just crazy. It just goes and goes, and it's hard to let go. And so I'll just do a guided meditation. So I listen to that, and it guides me through it.
Okay.
That's what I do.
All right, guys. Well, if you want to know more about Nikki, you know where she's gonna be at on TikTok. Where else? Your email.
My email, nchartman@me.com, with 2 N's on Hartman. And yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, guys. Well, like I always say, I didn't see this coming. And I always say that, but I mean it because I didn't see this coming. Yeah, the control freak was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I did it.
Good.
It was like a fear. Like the fear I had is gone. It's like, don't fear it. Just take it.
Good. Yes. Accept it. Claim it. It's yours.
That's right.
You own that.
All right, guys.
All right. Thank you for listening.
No problem. Let me wrap it up by saying, for anybody who's listening, whether it's 2020 or 2021, I don't know whether I'm going to publish it before the year is over. Don't panic. I will be back. But I need to work on a lot of things, and I think you already can see where I'm going with my podcast going forward. And I think people need to hear these messages that we have. And I'll leave it at that because I already said too much. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and please subscribe, like. I never say that. So if you guys if you got something out of this, please do. Well, you already know what to do. Follow me or follow Nikki. We'll see you guys in 2021 with the best intentions, and we love you. Everybody love. I don't have my high, but
love and light to everyone. Have a good year.
Thank you, Nikki.
We are go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Hit the record button.
Gosh, that's swell.
It's a Lowe's Blog Talk Radio.